Hello you alpha legends. Welcome to a video that's a bit of a departure from my usual content. I've been a big fan of Charlie and Ludwig for a long time, and they always seem to make banger videos whenever there's the slightest hint of internet drama, so I figured I'd give it a go, especially since we've had more drama over the last 3 days than the community has had since the last time we had an ultimate being released. I primarily enjoy endgame PvE content in FF14, so this is the kind of drama that I paid attention to immediately. I'll do my best to summarize everything that's happened in a concise manner. Please let me know if I did a compelling job at the end of this, and I might make some more in the future. If you're unaware, we need to go back about a week in time to when patch 6.31 was released. The main content of this patch was the release of the Omega Protocol Ultimate, or TOP for short. Whenever a new raid is released, whether it's Savage or Ultimate, the sweatiest gamers the game has to offer band together and race to being the first ones to clear the fight. I've followed most of the world first races ever since Eden's Promise, and boy, this one has been insane. We thought that Dragonsong's Reprise was going to be the peak of raiding difficulty when it comes to endgame content. Compared to TOP, DSR now looks like filthy casual content. The complexity and the pace of mechanics, the debuff vomit, the amount of shit happening everywhere all at once on the screen for every part of the fight was truly the epitome of tripping on LSD at an EDM rave while suffering from a seizure. 8 days after the fight released, on the morning of Jan 31st at 3:34 AM in Japanese Standard Time, the static Unnamed announced on Twitter that they had cleared the fight. The announcement was met with a storm of congratulations from the community, as this is the same group that won the race for World First on the last Savage tier as well. However, the glory was not meant to last. Shortly after the announcement that they had cleared, clips started surfacing showing Unnamed progging the last phase of the fight, while clearly using zoom hacks and other plugins. For those unaware, a zoom hack is pretty self-explanatory. It's a plugin that allows you to zoom out further than the game normally allows you to. While this sounds pretty innocent, it can be a tremendous advantage for progressing in an ultimate fight or a savage fight. If you get stuck on a hard mechanic, you can zoom out way further than normally possible, and you can observe the mechanic happening from a bird's eye view. This cuts down on the time needed to figure things out like boss movement, player movement, AoE patterns, just how the fight is supposed to progress at this point. Now before I go any further, I'd like to emphasize that I am directly asking anyone watching this to not engage in any cringe, witch hunting behavior. At the end of the day, it's a game. No one deserves to be sent death threats over shit like this. But anyway, the leaked footage seemed legitimate and the community was pretty quick to run to the shed and get their pitchforks sharpened. This was especially spicy because when the European group Neverland cleared Dragonsong's Reprise last year, they were heavily criticized for using some add-ons as well, especially by the Japanese community. This is what caused Square Enix to suspend several streamers back then that had ACT showing on their stream during prog. This is what caused me to stop streaming as well, as I was too lazy to clean up my UI from all of the quality of life add-ons that I use. Things spiraled out of control pretty quickly from here. The video clip confirming that a zoom hack was being used by the Dragoon on Unnamed also showed him using at least one other plugin that allows you to see your party members' raid buffs and mitigations, which is information that's normally not accessible to a player. And that's kind of it. You know what, since the clip is so short, let me play it real quick.
うわ、背面絶対立たないで。
あ、ビーム
グリッチミドルだ。
ミドルだ。
俺にビームくれ、俺にビームくれ、俺にビームくれ。
あ、オメガのケツ立たないで、オメガのケツから離れて。
ミドルだから。
ハイパーパルス。
これくらいか。
いや、違うリアじゃない。
横だ。
Unnamed wasn't even live streaming to an audience. They were at best running private YouTube streams to share clips and points of views with each other for figuring out mechanics. The rumor is that this footage was leaked by one of their supporting players for some reason. The proof here is pretty irrefutable, but as far as cheats go that you can use, this felt fairly mild to me at least. However, the community did not think so. On Twitter and Reddit, Unnamed was being crucified and memed at the same time. If you don't know, the JP community is rabid about these things, and immediately resorted to their favorite way of expressing their displeasure in the game by logging in as stark, naked, white-skinned male Rogadins, stalking the players from Unnamed that were online at any given time and surrounding them. Here are a few screenshots from my homie Ingvar, who logged into the game from his Steam Deck while he was at work to document this event. A few hours later, members from Unnamed made statements on Twitter about their usage of the hacks. The statement is from FireEye, one of the supporting players behind Unnamed. Their statement is in Japanese, but users on Twitter did their best to translate. The statement is not great. They confirm that they had indeed been using third-party tools during progression, and they apologize for all the commotion this has caused. The justification for using add-ons and plugins was basically that they saw other foreign world-first prog teams use plugins during their progression in the past, and to be able to compete with them, they felt the need to use them too. They claim that they ordered their Dragoon, the character being shown in the leaked clip, to install the add-on, and that he was originally not using this plugin. They then claim that somehow someone got unauthorized access to their YouTube account, where they got access to the footage that was leaked in the first place. The rumor going around on Reddit and Twitter is that one of the supporting players leaked this footage, which the statement from Unnamed addresses as being unable to confirm as to whether this was the case or not. They do confirm that all members of the team were aware of the information gained by using the Zoom hack and are therefore equally guilty. As far as statements go, this one is pretty straightforward and sounds quite honest. At the end of the day, a world first race is a race, a competition first and foremost. And whenever there is something to compete for, people will find ways to gain a competitive advantage, whether it's moral or legal or not. Of course, this also sounds like they're sorry for being caught, rather than sorry for being a cheater. I don't dispute their claim that other top groups are using plugins, as a lot of accusations against other groups came out at this time, but we'll touch on that in a while. Using other people's use of third-party tools as a way to justify your own usage is rough though. I can understand where they come from, but it's not a great look. In fact, it's such a bad look that our overlord Yoshi P made an official statement, the most strongly worded statement yet on an issue like this. Square Enix announced that they are aware of the third-party tool usage, and they will punish players appropriately once they're done investigating. They also allude to being aware of the confessions made by the group, but they would not be publicly announcing the punishments they're handing out due to their privacy policies. The real meat of the statement, though, is elsewhere. The first is, of course, that the official stance on third-party tools has not changed. They are prohibited and always have been, and there are no plans to make any changes here. It's also explained in the statement how someone was able to gain access to the post-clear cutscene using a network bug involving the unending journey, and that some of the leaked footage from the raid before it was cleared had likely come from an insider source at Square Enix. All of these are pretty spicy on their own, but not the focus right now. In the closing paragraphs of the statement, Yoshi P conveys his disappointment in ways I don't think he's ever really done before. I'm sure he was praying for a clean launch of the content with some wholesome celebrations when the first parties get their clears in. Given the controversy of this Ultimate and the last Ultimate though, Square Enix won't be announcing the world first groups on their social media channels anytime soon. There's a quote here I would like to highlight word for word. However, if the presumption is that this content will be tackled and cleared with the use of third-party tools, then any reason to develop high-difficulty battle content seems to be lost. It's very difficult for me to understand as a gamer what the meaning behind using numerous third-party tools to compete to clear first would be. Damn, that hits kind of deep. This is the equivalent of Yoshi P calling everyone noobs for using add-ons, and I feel a sense of sadness that I think is easy to empathize with. Imagine spending years designing, developing, coding content like this, only for its release to be surrounded by controversy every time. Then, the banger of the ending. If the illicit use of third-party tools is made clear through our investigations, I, at the very least, will not recognize that team as a true world first. Damn. Yoshi P dropping bombs out here. I don't think I've ever heard him say anything this direct and this borderline aggressive before, but I think the message is quite clear. It's about honestly as clear-cut as it gets. And boy, did Square Enix move quickly after this was released. Unnamed's ninja player, Haruka Setsuna, posted screenshots on Twitter detailing an interaction between him and a game master a few hours after the official statement came out. The GM informed him that their clear would be revoked. Their achievement and title were being removed by Square Enix. Additionally, the GM asked Haruka to discard and destroy the weapon he got by trading the TOP token. This is something we don't have a precedent for, and I've never seen anything like this. Being asked to destroy the weapon themselves feels a bit harsh. Justified, but harsh. Note that we don't know if any additional punishment is coming the way of the Dragoon player, who was the one using the add-on in the video, but we can assume that this punishment is being handed out to the rest of the static. So this is the equivalent of Square Enix also announcing that the real world first glory is still up for grabs. FFLogs announced that they are removing Unnamed from their leaderboards, which I found pretty ironic as they're the most commonly used third-party tool for the game. Frosty, the man who runs the world first race streams, drops a twitlonger sharing his thoughts on cheating and third-party tools and groups who don't stream their prog, and all of his thoughts there are very interesting and could be a video on their own. And the community gets back to progging in an attempt to clear the now somewhat tainted race. Anyway, as you might imagine, all the negative attention from the community hasn't been kind to the players from Unnamed. Some have already deleted their characters and Twitter accounts. One of their players, Rin, announced that they're taking a break from the game. Content creators like Haru Glory expressed their sadness at the whole situation on Twitter. They're watching some of their friends take a lot of heat here. Another popular content creator out of JP, Ice, ran with Unnamed back in Abyssos, and committed to deleting his characters that he used to clear with back then, as they were using third-party tools for that tier as well. And the community? Well, it does what it does best, of course, which is make a shitload of memes and give mostly shit and sometimes reasonable takes on Reddit. Here's a couple of my favorite ones. So where does this leave us? Well, it leaves us in a pretty awkward spot. Neverland, who were leading the race for a good chunk of time among the groups that were live logging, announced their clear and technical world first later on February 1, followed by either Group 3 a few hours later. Big congrats to all of them for getting through this absolute monster of a fight. Despite this race being somewhat tainted and influenced by all this drama, they have achieved something that I think will take many people a long time to replicate. Moving forward, I'm expecting every serious world first contender to stream their whole prog live. The main reason why quite a few top teams don't stream is for competitive advantages. They don't want to give away their strats, but anyone now announcing a clear in the upcoming endgame raids without a full VOD being released immediately is going to be accused of cheating. On top of that, you'll have situations where one person might be streaming a group's progress, but have other people in the same static using third-party tools. I'll be making a separate video to talk about my thoughts on third-party tools and maybe do a showcase of the level of tools there are in the game. There were also other fun moments of drama in this period of time as the situation with Unnamed was unfolding, where other prominent groups and their members are being accused of cheating. Popular Red Mage player and member of Mr. Happy Static, Mazz, had footage surface of him using some of the most egregious cheats I've ever seen in both TOP and P8S. Mazz has addressed these allegations and these clips of him using Splatoon, which is the add-on that draws the circles on his screen, and you can see for yourself as to whether you believe a side of the story or not, but it is what it is. Other people left their world first race statics as a result of their members being accused of using plugins, so yeah, overall, all around fun times. As a outside viewer, as someone that isn't participating in this race, I thought this is all pretty fascinating. To wrap this all up, here's a couple of thoughts on mine. Cheats suck, yeah, but defining what a third-party tool is kind of tricky. G-Shade is a third-party tool, ACT is a third-party tool. Innocent plugins that allow you to change the background music in-game are third-party tools. There were lots, and I mean lots of people streaming their TOP prog on Twitch with all kinds of plugins visible. There were posts made about the first instance of someone being caught with a text-to-speech trigger, others with overlays that showed them exactly where some of the AoE cleaves are going to be in one of the phases of the fight. So the usage of plugins seems very widespread. And it makes me think, like, what circumstances do you have to be able to prove in that you weren't cheating? Innocent till proven guilty is what I'd like to say, but I don't think the community will echo that sentiment. Do you need to have like a full static of 8 people playing on PlayStation 5s, sitting in a room together with like a camera showing all of them at the same time to be able to say that you didn't cheat? It's also very much possible to hide a lot of plugins and hide a lot of things like voice triggers or text-to-speech triggers that are just not visible on stream. Right, there's plenty of workarounds there. But yeah, anyway, that sums up all the drama around the world first race. It has been an interesting release of content. I think this has been the most dramatic it's been for a while. I did mention that the JP community was very angry about Neverland using some plugins in the past, which I think is now pretty funny and kind of hypocritical in hindsight. Of course, the JP community are the ones that are most aggressively crucifying their own players. Right? It is the JP players that take this shit way, way, way too far. They're the kind of people that, as I mentioned, will make alts that are white naked Rokedins, and they will stalk these people until the end of time. The players from Unnamed can't even change their in-game names and Fantasia into someone else because their Lodestone accounts have a permanent ID. So these people that are really out for them and really express their hatred in this way now have an easy way of tracking them. So it doesn't surprise me that some people have already deleted their accounts. Whether they leave FF14 entirely, I kind of hope that they don't. Regardless of whether they were using some external assistance or not, I believe they're very talented players, and I hope that their mental health doesn't suffer too much as a result of this, because the shit is rough. Imagine grinding for like 150 or 160 hours in one of the hardest pieces of content ever, and having mentally pre-justified the usage of these third-party tools, only to then be absolutely fucking rimmed by the community and hated on from all directions. So yeah, I hope that the community doesn't lose a good set of raiders over this. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Not sure if I'll make an update video if things develop further or not. But I thought I'd try my hand at making some commentary on some drama. I've never really done anything like this before. So if this was cool, let me know. If it sucked, let me know too. And I would like to shout out some people on my Discord server that helped collect information for this and help me build a timeline for this. Shout out to my friends Ingvar, who also provided some of his own screenshots, to Tome, to Shiro, to Hannah, to Rose. Thank you all for contributing to this little video. If you guys want to come chat with us, come to the Discord server. Link in the description below. Peace.